indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day that you have given us. You're such a wonderful God.
Hi everyone, this is Katie Lopez, and today I'm coming to you with a video about homeschool curriculum styles. In my last video, I talked to you guys about difference in homeschool curriculum. But this week, the Lord was kind of prompting me to tell you guys a little bit more, go a little bit deeper in the styles of curriculum. So that's what I want to share with you. So again, this video may not be for veteran moms out there who know what they're doing already. It's more for those of you who are thinking about homeschooling this year. You're pretty sure because you're curriculum shopping, but you're not sure what kind of curriculum to get still. So I wanted to bring up a couple differences, and I'm not going to list curriculum in this video like the last one. It's more of style I wanted to explain to you. There's three main styles in teaching by manual, and then of course the fourth one would be to do an online learning program. So let me focus mostly on those first three. The first one that I'd like to touch on is a curriculum you purchase that you follow the manual by lesson and you teach it every day. So the curriculum would be set up like a Becca with 170 lessons, and every day what I do is I look at the manual and I look at what they want to teach the child that day. I make sure I have everything I need. If they're teaching on inches, I have my ruler ready. In my mind, I've planned, I've circled, I've highlighted what I need to talk to that child about that day in that subject, and I do that for every subject for that child. Now, if you have more than one child, that's a little challenging, which I do. So then I prepare every lesson every day for every child. And it gets to be quite a lot unless you get used to it and you're organized and you don't mind that, which I don't mind it. So that works well for us. But what came to my mind was maybe some of you have more children than I do or less time than I do to lesson plan and prepare. So that's one style. When you find a curriculum that has lessons, every single lesson has a new concept, and you are responsible as the teacher to prepare that lesson and give that to your student. Afterwards, then he has homework. That's one style. That's what I do with the Becca. The other style, the second style rather, is a concept style. One of my friends does this, and it seems to save her some time. A concept style, let's use math as an example, would be instead of teaching a new concept in math every day, she teaches a new concept, let's say on Monday, and then there's worksheets for the rest of the week, or depending on how hard the concept is, it might be for 2 weeks. So she teaches again, let's say on Monday, but that's all she teaches on math that week for that child. Every day then she gives him a review sheet or another homework sheet for that concept. You might be saying, well, Katie, why don't you do that? That sounds easier. It's just a different style. It's not necessarily easier. What it is it's really driving home that concept for that child. So whereas a Becca introduces a new concept every day except on testing days, half of the homework is on the new concept with a Becca. The other half is on review. So there's different things with both styles. So with a Becca, I love that it's reviewing. It's constantly reviewing its old material. So yes, I do have to put in a little front work to teach the new concept, but what I love is that they have all this other review every day. Whereas with a concept, they don't necessarily review other things because they're really driving home that new concept for 5, 6, 7, 8 days. Now the plus side to the concept is if your child understands the concept, he can blow through like a week's worth of lessons in a couple of days if you let him, if you want to go that way, which actually might be smart too, because once he runs into a concept that's a little bit harder, you can take your time. You might take 2 days to do one lesson if it was really hard for him or her. So the concept is more created or curtailed to your child's level of understanding, and you can go at his pace and you teach less. The downside with it would be, if I understand correctly, the review isn't there. It's not constantly reviewing all the old material. But you could review on your own too with different flashcards or other things like that. And I just keep using math as an example, but there's curriculum for every subject like this, as far as is my understanding. Also, the third approach I wanted to really focus on, this would be for multiple children, trying to save some time here. So the first two were for teaching a single child. Every single child, you do this for every single week or concept. The third approach would be for teaching multiple children together, which I think is wonderful, and I do this in different subjects. But one of the, it's called a unit-based study, and I wanted to show you one curriculum specifically that does it. It's called Apologia, and I'm sure you guys have heard of it before, but this is swimming creatures. My friend gave me this, and we haven't done it yet. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would love to do it. Last year was really busy, and we didn't get a chance to. We actually moved halfway through the year. It was just too busy for us. But this is one of many of their books. It's called Swimming Creatures. It's a Christian-based curriculum. It's all about creation. But they have 7 different ones for the elementary grades. There's, let me just list them off here for you. There's botany, astronomy, zoology, swimming creatures, land animals, anatomy and physiology, and chemistry and physics. And I can give you the website where you can purchase each one of these. But the idea is that you as the mom would read this book with all of your children that are between kindergarten and 6th grade. You sit them down and they listen. And then, like for swimming creatures, it wants you to go to the beach because you're going to look at coral reefs and look for different critters there. It's a unit based, so it's based on like every week you're going to cover this many topics and ideas. And then what you do is you buy different journals for the children to work with. There's the junior journal. This would be, according to the curriculum, this would be for kindergarten through 3rd grade. And then you would buy the older journal, and that's this one. And this one would be for, it says 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. And the difference in these two journals is that the younger one, the junior one, has less writing. So it allows the younger child to keep up. And I believe it has a little bit more coloring, and it helps them in their writing. So it would still have like the dotted line. I don't know if you can see that, but it would have the dotted lines there to help them remember where to put their letters and things like that. Whereas this older journal doesn't have the dotted lines. They just know how to write already, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. They don't need the dotted lines. So I thought that was really nice that they engineered it for younger as well as older children. But there's experiments in here, there's writing. When you're talking about a unit-based study, it's taking one concept, so in my example, it would be Apologia Science, and you're incorporating spelling, writing, experiments, some math, and usually unit studies are for 1 to 3 weeks, and then you go to your next unit study, and that way you don't have to specifically prepare a lesson on spelling, specifically prepare a lesson on reading and writing and so forth. It incorporates many different subjects into one overall unit study that might take most of the day of school. But then you go to the beach, let's say one day, and you're looking for shells, and you're talking and interacting, and you get a bunch of evidence and things for experiments. You might even come home and do some experiments, but then the rest of the week you can talk about that, and they finish their writing projects and they review things like that. So it's not teaching every single day. Again, it's a big unit study where you teach on some days, but you're teaching and incorporating all the subjects, so it saves you time with lesson planning. So that is my third, that is the third option I wanted to share with you guys. So again, the first one would be using a manual, teaching each lesson to each child. The second one is a concept-based curriculum where you teach the concept, let's say on Monday, to each child, but then the rest of the week you don't have to teach. It's a review of that concept. And then the third approach would be a unit base where you're incorporating more than one child teaching on one idea or subject. It doesn't have to be science. This is my example. It can be in history or other subjects. But you're incorporating writing, spelling, math, things like that. The fourth approach, again, like I mentioned in the very beginning of the video, was on an online approach. Again, Rebecca has this. I'm sure other programs have online learning. In fact, I know a lot of the public schools or private schools are doing a form of online learning. So that again removes the pressure from you as the parent to prepare. But if you're planning to homeschool, you would still need to order books and journals and things like that. So if you are choosing to do an online approach, totally fine, but you still would want to make sure you get flashcards, writing paper, notebook paper, things like that. So I wanted just to remind you, if you are doing an online program, just make sure you have supplies ready. And then for those of you who already have purchased your curriculum, I'm hoping that these last few tips will help you. These are ways that I blend, even though I teach from Rebecca, where I teach each child each subject, I blend certain things that I can to save myself time. So for instance, when we do Bible story time or classic reading, Pilgrim's Progress, things like that, I like to teach them all. I read to them all. So if you have a reading time, just sit them all down, you know, depending on the ages of your children. Mine are younger. You can't read forever, but even the baby will listen for a little bit. So we do reading time or Bible time together. You can do science experiments together, which is super fun. History reading as well, especially around like holidays or Thanksgiving. It's a wonderful time to incorporate all of the children, reminding them of our history, get some coloring pages out there for the young kids. You can learn maps together. You know, let's look at the map, guys. Let's quiz, you know, north, south, east, and west, stuff like that. Again, the older kids would know some of this, but it doesn't hurt for them to hear it again and review. Foreign languages you can learn together. I buy my flashcards at Walmart or Target for Spanish, but there's many good curriculums out there for foreign languages, and depending on the level, if everyone's starting out and it's their first year for everyone, they can all learn at the same pace, right, for foreign language. Music is another really great way to incorporate the family. Now, if you're taking private lessons or there's a time for practicing on the piano, guitar, or something like that, no, you've got to do that individually. But we love to dance around and sing and worship the Lord together. But again, whatever music you guys choose, it's just a fun way to get the whole family going. 2 tricks I have with spelling and flashcards to incorporate each other or multiple students. If the children have already prepared their or reviewed their spelling words for the week, I like to do a little bit of a competition with them. So I'll have like, let's say the spelling manual for the 1st grader and then my spelling manual for the 3rd grader, and I'll say, okay, Taylor, you go ahead and say this word, and then she spells. I have her stand up because it's more official, you know, and then I'll have Zach stand up and then he'll say his word, and we go back and forth. We pretend we have a spelling bee. That's a good way to incorporate some competition as well as blending the review words, right? And then with flashcards, it's really fun too with math flashcards. Once they've again done their individual review, then I'll have, you know, the 1st grader's flashcard pile here, and then Zach's flashcard pile will be over here, and then we'll go back and forth. I have a prize box too. I don't know if you guys, little bits and pieces of things, toys and things like that, and you can encourage them that way for competition. Some of the subjects though are harder to blend, so you want to be careful with things like reading and phonics, especially if they're just starting out reading. That really needs to be taught individually because they're learning how to sound things out and they're remembering their phonics rules. Writing as well at first is hard to teach multiple children. You want to just make sure they at least know how to hold their pencil and they're remembering certain things the right way. Or typing, if one of your children is learning how to type, I mean, that's all individual. So, and then math concepts, whereas flashcards are easy to blend. You know, if you're teaching 3rd or 4th grader different things, long division, you're not going to be, you know, having your 1st grader join in when she's just learning subtraction. So some things you absolutely have to teach individually, other things you can blend. So I hope this information on styles of curriculum has helped you. Again, if you have any questions, just put them in the comments below. I'll be happy to respond. And I hope you guys are having a great week, and I hope this information helps you. Have a great day.